Hey, good morning. It is very early, and my kids and everything are still asleep, and so um, I've got another doctor's appointment this morning with an allergist. Remember when half of my tongue got really swollen? Well, we're gonna go do some allergy testing and see if I'm allergic to nuts or something like that. I know I'm nuts, but want to see if I'm allergic to myself and nuts. But anyway, I told you yesterday about something I wanted to tell you, but I didn't have time. Well, um, a couple last week, or maybe even more than that, I got really discouraged and just thinking, am I being effective at all? Um, am I worth holding on to do ministry for you, Lord? Is there anything good that I'm doing for you? I, you know, wherever those thoughts came from or why or whatever, I struggled with them. And so I got to the point where I said, God, I need to know from you today um, if I go back to school and be a PE teacher or something like that, or if I stay in ministry. And for those of you that know me really well, you're thinking, what in the world? But I was just asking the Lord that because I just don't feel so effective sometimes. So we had this revival thing in town, and I went to it, and that was the day that I asked God to give me a word that day. And so as I was sitting there praying through worship, I said, God, would you bring somebody to me that I don't even know to give me a word from you? A very specific word, not a word that is generic. And before I knew it, this little old lady came up to me and she said, I have a word for you. And I was like, okay. And she goes, I'll be right back. I'm going to go pray with this person and then I'll be back. And I was like, okay. So when she came back, she said, I want you to know that God has an appointed time for you, and that the things that He has promised you will come to fruition. You just have to wait. Now is not the time. And I'm sitting there going, so then she stopped and we sat down for a minute, and I allowed the skepticism in my mind to take over. And I thought, you know what? She could have said that generic word to anybody. And so then she leaned back over and she said, He just gave me another word to give you. Now, y'all understand that this does not happen to me often. I don't function like this, but this is what happened. And so I said, okay. And she said the word says, and she said this verbatim, no scripture in front of her. It's Isaiah 42:6. I, the Lord, have called you in righteousness. I will take hold of your hand, and I will keep you, and I will make you be a covenant for the people and a light for the Gentiles, to open the eyes that are blind, to free the captives from prison, and to release from the dungeon those who sit in darkness. Now, by this time, I am absolutely bawling because I realize at this moment, God has spoken to me through this little old lady. He has answered my request, and He has said, you will not go back to school. You will stick in ministry, and you will keep going. And so the reason that I know that is, you can see back in my Bible, right there, it says, confirm calling 1606. There was a time in 2006 where it was a whole plethora of reasons, but I thought I was done in ministry. And so, in fact, I had some ladies tell me, "You're done." And and so I asked God, "Am I done?" And He said, "No. This is your scripture, and this is what you're called to do: open the blind, free the captives, and release those in the dungeon through speaking, through the word that I give you to tell people." And so, so that lady, God, through that lady, used the exact scripture that God had used 4 or 5 years before to confirm that I am to keep going. Now, I hope this is the last time that I'll have a frustrating moment and deny or be confused about what I'm to continue on. I just struggle because I don't work from the home, or I don't work outside the home like a real full-time job. I work in a little, like 10 hours a week little job, not even that much. And I just struggle with not bringing much to the table and things like that. And we thankfully don't need me to work, but yet, when the world says you got to work. And so, but God is saying, no, I've called you to ministry. I've called you to speak and do these things. Help those in need through speaking, through ministry. And so that's what I've got to do. Have y'all ever had an experience like that? Have y'all ever been through something like that? I don't know. I'd love to hear from you. I got to go do my swimming first before I go to the allergist, and I'm actually going to weigh in on Friday just to see where I'm at. I feel great, even in my pajamas. See you later. Bye.